Today we will uncover the problem. You are losing power every time you react emotionally. Your anger, excitement, jealousy, and fear. They are not signs of humanity. They are signs of weakness someone else can exploit. But what if you could flip the game? What if you could learn to control your emotions so deeply that no one could ever manipulate you again? This is where Machiavelli speaks. Most people believe emotion is what makes us human, what gives life meaning, what connects us to others. But Machiavelli saw something different. He saw that emotion, when left unguarded, is not a strength. It is a leash. And the one who knows how to pull that leash controls the one wearing it. In every interaction, every argument, every negotiation, your emotions are being watched more than your words. People are always reading your reactions, not your logic. The moment you reveal how something affects you, you give away where your vulnerabilities lie. And in a world where power is rarely given, only taken, those vulnerabilities are the first thing others will exploit. Think of the last time someone made you angry. You felt offended, disrespected, maybe even eager to prove yourself. But look closely. In that moment, were you in control, or were they? They became the puppeteer, and your emotional response turned into a string they could pull. Rage does not show strength. Rage shows that the opponent has touched something inside you, some insecurity or desire that you have not mastered. Your reaction is a confession you cannot take back. Machiavelli understood that the moment you react emotionally, you lose strategic clarity. Emotion clouds judgment. A person driven by emotion does not see consequences, only impulses. The emotional man lunges. The strategic man waits. And waiting is where power collects. Most people cannot wait. They want to respond. They want to express. They want to be understood, validated, seen. And that is why they are predictable. Predictability is weakness because it allows others to plan around you before you even move. Observe how people use your emotions against you. Compliment can be bait. A criticism can be a cage. A silent pause can make you speak more than you intended. This is how power operates. Not always through force, but through influence. The more emotionally reactive you are, the easier you are to influence. You become a creature of stimulus and response. You become what Machiavelli warned against, a servant to the moves of others. But the one who learns to hold emotion behind the ribs, invisible but alive, becomes someone entirely different. Someone dangerous. Someone unreadable. Someone who cannot be provoked, manipulated, or coerced. The person who does not flinch when insulted, does not glow when praised, does not quake when threatened. This person is the master of the room without raising their voice, because silence is not absence of emotion. It is dominance over emotion. Understand how often emotion is used as bait. Someone angers you to make you defensive. Someone flatters you to lower your guard. Someone creates urgency not because it is real, but because the feeling of urgency makes you choose faster than you can think. Emotion is the key used to unlock your rational mind and replace it with blind instinct. When Machiavelli advised leaders to remain composed, he was not teaching coldness, he was teaching power. Power over oneself before power over others. Imagine two generals on a battlefield. One sees his men fall and rushes forward in anger, determined to strike back immediately. The other sees the same loss, but holds his position, watching, calculating, choosing the place and moment to strike when the cost to his enemy will be greatest. The first general follows emotion. The second follows strategy. Which one survives? Which one wins? The one who waits, not the one who reacts. Emotion is not the enemy. Blind emotion is. This applies not only in war or politics, but in your daily life. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when a partner says something hurtful, when you feel jealousy, fear, or excitement. These are the moments your mind becomes vulnerable. If you allow yourself to be moved like a leaf in the wind, you will always be at the mercy of forces outside yourself. But when you learn to pause, to observe, to feel but not respond immediately, you take back the advantage that emotion once stole from you. Do not mistake silence for emptiness. Inside the stillness of a controlled man, there is a furnace burning. But it burns under command. The world tries to provoke reactions, because reactions reveal identity. If you do not react, you remain unknown. And what is unknown cannot be controlled. The one who cannot be read, cannot be led. The one who cannot be provoked, cannot be defeated. The one who cannot be emotionally manipulated becomes the master of any room they entered. Most people believe power is something external. They think it comes from status, wealth, authority, or the ability to command others. But Machiavelli understood something far more subtle and far more dangerous. True power begins with ruling yourself. Before you can influence the world, you must first discipline your mind, your impulses, your desires, and your reactions. The person who does not control himself is forever controlled by the world around him. Watch how most people move through life. They are driven by urges, impulses, and emotional whims. They speak as they feel compelled. They react because something triggered them. They respond without thinking. Every time they do this, they hand their power to someone else. But the individual who pauses before reacting, who observes before responding, who chooses his actions instead of being dragged into them, that individual commands the moment. And whoever commands the moment, commands the interaction, the dynamic, and eventually, the people in it. Machiavelli knew that people are not led by reason. They are led by emotion, insecurity, pride, approval, and fear. The one who masters himself learns to read these forces not within himself, but in others. When you control yourself, you are no longer blinded by your own emotional storms. You can study the emotional storms of others with clarity. You see what angers them, what pressures them, what excites them, what weakens them. Their minds become transparent while yours remains closed. This is the foundation of psychological power. The one who is always calm becomes unsettling. People do not know what he is thinking. They cannot predict his next move. They cannot manipulate him, because nothing they do seems to penetrate him. He becomes the center of gravity in any room, while others are flustered, explaining themselves, reacting to every shift in tone or expression. He sits in stillness. That stillness is not passivity, it is command. When someone insults you and you do not react, you teach them that you cannot be provoked. When someone tries to intimidate you and you remain composed, you show them that their power has no effect. When someone tries to seduce your ego and you remain unmoved, you reveal that you are not desperate for validation. In this way, your silence becomes louder than any words. Your restraint becomes a display of strength. Your presence becomes a psychological weight others feel without understanding why. Control of self is not suppression. It is discipline. It is the ability to feel emotion without being owned by it. It is the power to delay reaction until the right moment. And in that delay there is advantage. Think of a chess master. He does not move the moment he sees a piece open. He waits. He watches. He examines the entire board. He considers what his opponent wants him to do. Most people do not do this in life. They respond instantly, blindly, and emotionally. That is why they lose. When you control yourself, you force others to reveal themselves. People expose their intentions when they are impatient. They show you their fears when they feel challenged. They show you their insecurities when they try to prove something. They show you their desires when they chase approval or admiration. You do not need to interrogate them. You only need to remain still and watch. Their own emotional lack of control will speak for them. Machiavelli understood that most conflict is won long before it begins. The one who is calm sees more. The one who sees more understands more. And the one who understands more controls the outcome. People think control means dominance over others through force. But the highest level of control is subtle. It is invisible. It is the control of emotional atmosphere, of tone, of tempo. The controlled person sets the pace of every interaction. Others must match him, respond to him, align with him. In that alignment, they fall under his influence. Imagine two people in a disagreement. One is loud, emotional, expressive. The other speaks slowly, intentionally, with a measured calm. Which one appears stronger? Which one appears wiser? Which one appears in command? The quieter one controls the conversation, not by overpowering the other, but by refusing to be drawn into emotional chaos. The emotional one reveals everything. The controlled one reveals nothing. And this is the essence of mental dominance. The less you reveal, the more others reveal themselves. The less you react, the more others try to influence you. The more they try, the more transparent they become. You win not by force, but by patience. Not by aggression, but by understanding. Not by reacting, but by choosing exactly when and how to move. Control of self is the foundation of power because it gives you the rarest advantage in the world, the ability to act with intention instead of impulse. Once you have that, others are already following your lead, whether they realize it or not. There is a point in life where you must understand the difference between feeling something and being controlled by it. Machiavelli recognized that human beings attach themselves to people, outcomes, identities, beliefs, and expectations. And it is this attachment that becomes their weakness. When you are attached, you need something to happen a certain way. You need someone to respond a certain way. You need to be understood, validated, respected, or loved. This need makes you predictable. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you controllable. Detachment is not the absence of emotion. Detachment is the discipline to see reality as it is, without letting your wants blind you. Think of how often people suffer simply because they cling. They cling to relationships long after they have ended. They cling to opinions that no longer serve them. They cling to the desire to win every argument, to prove something, to be admired. Their attachment becomes a chain, and they drag it behind them through every interaction. Machiavelli understood that the one who is free from attachment is free from manipulation. If you do not need the approval of others, no one can shame you. If you do not fear losing someone, no one can control you with affection or abandonment. If you do not desperately want a specific outcome, no one can force you to act irrationally to chase it. The detached mind is clear. It sees the board without distortion. It chooses moves based on strategy rather than emotional hunger. Imagine two negotiators. One is emotionally invested in winning. He wants recognition. He wants to be right. He wants to prove something. The other negotiator is simply there to observe, assess, and act. The emotional negotiator talks more, reveals more, becomes more anxious under pressure. The detached negotiator listens more, reveals nothing, and remains impossible to read. Who holds power? The one who does not need anything from the interaction. When you want nothing, you can choose everything. Detachment allows you to walk away, and the ability to walk away is one of the greatest advantages in any situation. If you can leave a deal, a relationship, a friendship, a job, or an argument without emotional collapse, you are free. But if you cling to it, if you need it, then you are not in control. The situation controls you. Machiavelli would say, the one who cares less will always have power over the one who cares more. But this is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming internally fortified. Detach not from people, but from the desire to control how they see you. Detach not from emotion, but from the need to act on it. Detach not from ambition, but from the fear of losing it. When you can watch your own feelings without letting them dictate your actions, you transform from participant to observer. The observer sees everything. The participant sees only what emotion allows. And once you see more clearly, strategy becomes simple. You will notice patterns in people. The more attached someone is, the easier they are to sway. The person desperate for respect will overcompensate. The one desperate for love will excuse anything. The one desperate to win will take reckless risks. Meanwhile, the detached individual chooses their moves with quiet precision. Detachment creates patience. Patience creates timing. Timing creates advantage. Detachment also protects your peace. When you are not emotionally entangled with everything around you, you do not waste energy reacting to every opinion, insult, or disappointment. Most suffering comes from insisting that reality should be different from what it is. Detachment allows you to acknowledge reality and respond to it strategically instead of resisting it emotionally. You no longer take things personally because you recognize that people act according to their own insecurities, fears, and motives. Their behavior reflects, not you. Detachment turns life into a chessboard rather than a battlefield. You stop fighting everything. You start understanding everything. And understanding leads to control. Not control over the world, but control over your place in it. People who are attached are constantly pulled and pushed, reacting to forces outside themselves. The detached person moves deliberately, like a shadow, like a storm forming in silence. And while others exhaust themselves trying to force outcomes, the detached one simply places himself where the advantage will naturally appear. He is not hurried. He is not desperate. He is not consumed. He waits. And while he waits, others reveal themselves. They speak too soon. They act too fast. They show too much. He watches. He learns. He chooses when the moment is profitable, not when emotion demands it. This is how detachment becomes power. Not by rejecting the world, but by refusing to be owned by it. There is an art to power that most people never learn. It is the art of stillness on the outside and strategy on the inside. Machiavelli understood that the greatest leaders, conquerors, and manipulators in history all possessed one thing in common, an unshakable outward composure. They did not speak quickly. They did not react impulsively. They did not reveal fear, excitement, irritation, or desire. Even in the middle of chaos, they appeared composed. But behind that calm exterior, their minds were constantly observing, analyzing, planning, and calculating every move around them. Most people show their emotions on their faces, in their tone, in their body language, in their reactions. They give themselves away before they have even spoken. Anger reveals what they fear. Jealousy reveals insecurity. Excitement reveals weakness. Silence terrifies them, so they fill it with unnecessary explanation. They want to be understood. They want to be liked. They want to prove something. And because of this, their intentions are visible to everyone. They are easy to read, easy to predict, easy to influence. Machiavelli teaches that power belongs to the one who is unreadable, the one who can sit in silence while others unravel themselves, the one who gives nothing away while extracting everything, the one who watches, listens, and stores every detail without letting emotion disturb the waters of his expression. When you appear calm, others reveal themselves to fill the void. They talk more, explain more, justify more. The quieter you are, the louder the world becomes. Appearing calm is not pretending. It is discipline. It means you do not allow external forces to dictate your internal state. It means you do not let insult touch your pride, nor flattery seduce your ego. It means you do not allow provocation to move you into action before you decide the moment is right. This does not mean you lack emotion. It means your emotions answer to your strategy, not the other way around. When you remain calm, people underestimate you, and this is a strategic advantage. The one who seems harmless is often the most capable. The one who reveals nothing is the most difficult to attack. People prepare defenses against what they can see, but you give them nothing to see. When they think you are passive, you are positioning. When they think you are indifferent, you are studying. When they think you are silent because you have nothing to say, you are silent because you are thinking 10 steps ahead. Consider how power operates in conversation. The person who controls the tone controls the interaction. If someone raises their voice and you lower yours, they become aware of their loss of composure. If someone tries to provoke you and you do not react, they lose their leverage. If someone attempts to pressure you and you remain still, you force them to reveal their desperation. Calmness is not just emotional control. It is psychological dominance. It shifts the balance in your favor without a word. Machiavelli knew that appearances shape perception, and perception shapes reality. So when you appear calm, others assume competence. When you appear unaffected, others assume strength. When you appear confident in silence, others assume you know something they do not. People project their fears, insecurities, and hopes onto someone who remains unreadable. This means your calmness becomes a mirror that exposes them while concealing you. But the calm exterior is only half the power. Behind that calmness must be calculation. You must be observant. You must be analyzing the motives, desires, weaknesses, and patterns of the people around you. Every reaction you don't show gives you more time to understand them. Every silence you hold draws more information from them. You learn where they are fragile, where they are strong, where they hesitate, and where they overcommit. You learn how they justify their actions, how they defend their pride, and how they respond to pressure. Calculation does not mean overthinking. It means watching with purpose. It means saving your energy for the moment that matters most. It means choosing your words not for emotional relief, but for strategic effect. It means knowing when to speak and when to say nothing, when to act and when to wait, when to cut ties and when to draw closer. The world is full of people who move without thinking. You will move only when the move positions you to gain something. Appearing calm is a shield. Calculating is the sword behind it. Your calmness protects your mind from being influenced or manipulated. Your calculation positions you to influence and manipulate others. This is how leaders command rooms without raising their voice. How negotiators win without arguing. How strategists defeat opponents who never even saw the trap forming around them. When you appear calm but calculate everything, you do not chase the world. You let the world reveal itself to you. And once it reveals itself, you decide the outcome. Throughout this journey, we have uncovered a truth that most never see. Power is not something seized by force. It is shaped within the mind. Emotion, when uncontrolled, becomes the chain that others use to guide you. But when mastered, it becomes a force you can direct with precision. Control of self is not merely discipline. It is influence, perception, and advantage. The one who governs his impulses governs his fate. The one who understands his own weaknesses can see the weaknesses in others with clarity. And the one who learns to detach from outcomes, from validation, from unnecessary emotional attachment becomes free to think, to choose, to act with intention instead of impulse. When you appear calm while your mind is analyzing the field like a strategist, you become unreadable. And the unreadable mind is untouchable. People cannot manipulate what they cannot predict. They cannot influence what does not react. They cannot control what does not cling. You stand in silence, yet your silence speaks for you. You no longer chase power, because power begins to bend toward you. You do not demand respect, because respect becomes a natural response in the presence of someone who does not yield to emotional storms. What Machiavelli understood is that dominance begins with internal sovereignty. Before conquering kingdoms, you must conquer the territory within yourself. When you no longer allow others to dictate your emotional reality, you rise above the noise of the world. You stop playing the game that others are enslaved by, and instead, you set the rules of the game yourself. This is the evolution of the self: to feel, yet remain unshaken. To observe, yet never be exposed. To move only with purpose, never with impulse. To live not as a servant to emotion, but as the architect of your own mind. And when you reach that level, control is no longer something you seek. It is something you already are.